Going to start the recording, and we'll do a quick check if everyone is here. Hawk, you here?
Yep.
Okay. Then Anticity, are you here?
Yep.
Okay. Hurls?
I am here. Gar just ran off to make his mama coffee.
That's fine. And Ben?
I am here.
Great. So we'll wait for Gar to get back, and then we will be all set. How's everybody doing? Y'all hanging in there? Life going okay?
Yeah.
I apologize it's been so long since the last session. A lot of complications on my end, but we're we're finally here. Does everybody have written down what how long their cold is gonna last for?
3 days, and mine just started right at the end of our last session.
Yeah. Let me check.
Yes, mine's over.
I just want to make sure everyone has the info.
Just 1 second. Gotta find it. Here we go. I have it
Yes,
for
I do
4
have.
days, and it just started.
Great.
And I have the stuff for my flux and my foul smell.
Oh, that's right. You got sick again.
But it's not a cold, and this one is not communicable.
Yeah, that is the nice part. Yeah, for the flux, it's did I tell you once a day you have to test? Or do I need to look it up?
I think you need to look it up. I don't remember you saying it was once a day.
Once per session, you just decide I have to go. And
All right.
I have 3 rounds to do so.
Cool. Just wanted to
just happen.
make sure I had that written down. Oh, I want to test something real quick. Just double check. And here I'll use this. If I hit show to player right now, do y'all see an entire character sheet, or do you just see the picture of the character?
I just see the picture of Maria.
Just picture. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's what I needed to know.
Anything written in the bio info, we would see that too.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. So have you've all seen Rodrigo's art, right? Of y'all's sessions?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep.
It is fantastic.
They're so good, dude. I love them so much. I don't know why he decided to make you into Mario, Pearls, but
It works though. It works because I look like Mario in real life. So it's like he took my caricature and made me into a Warhammer character.
It's me for real.
It's me. I stop at the Beastman.
We'll have to get like a moment where you stomp on a goblin to kill it. Because I mean, Goombas are mushrooms, greenskins are mushrooms. It all works out.
In my next Warhammer cosplay, I'm going to incorporate some type of M symbol onto my headgear somehow.
Be a Chilean rat catcher. That's close to a plumber.
I'm not sure about that.
No problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So, last time in the Enemy Within / Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition campaign led by Sotek, y'all left the city of Middenheim after poor old Thind got fired from his job, and you joined up with one of the hunts that was searching for the Manticore around the city of Middenheim. As you left the city, you were accosted or spoken to by a strange man that had a bunch of friends, and they claimed to be certain kinds of employed individuals working for a mysterious figure known as the Man, who you'd heard little snippets about while in the city itself. He seems to be some sort of crime boss. But in any event, you do catch a couple kind of threads together. As he's talking to you, he offers a lot of you some money, apparently in exchange for your unsolicited services in killing the vampire. And they also warned you to stay away from the city, at least for a while, lest you be arrested, because apparently one of the sergeants is spreading some pretty nasty rumors about you guys, despite the fact he knew for a fact that there was no true plague, and the only reason it was brought to an end is because y'all killed the vampire responsible. Yet he is telling other tales, and he's much more credible than the 5 of you combined. So y'all were forced, well, not forced, but you chose to leave the city, and you continued heading south, chasing after any indication of the Manticore, and you got to deal with the joys of traveling, though for some of you it was better than others. Rarit did have the extreme good fortune to encounter an extremely wounded bear that seems to have fought with the Manticore, but managed to fight it off and or escape. But unfortunately, the bear, it then ran into Rarit, who proceeded to kill it and harvest some lovely materials. And then as you continue down the road, with Nurgle giving you bountiful blessings, ensuring that Dorathandrel's cold spread to literally every single one of you, you eventually made your way until you found a battlefield where the Knights Panther, a small contingent of them, had also faced off against the Manticore and been utterly slaughtered. And while rummaging among the dead, you decided to move them off the road, and more importantly, move them away from Rarit, who could not maintain his urges and ended up devouring and breaking apart those poor steeds the knights have ridden on, giving them a very gruesome end. Though at least they were already dead. And then 2 of you actually decided to take things from the corpses of the Knights Panther, with Thend secretly pocketing a golden ring he found on one of their fingers. And I believe it was it Sigmund or Astaroth that took the sword?
It was me, Astaroth.
Okay, so and Astaroth took a mysterious blade that has all sorts of beautiful insignia and various little things to it to make it unique and very identifiable. But there seems something strange about it. Astaroth, did you write on your character sheet everything I told you about the sword?
Yes.
What did I tell you about the sword?
Curious sword and scabbard, fine quality ×3.
Okay,
That's
cool.
all.
Cool. That's all I've told you so far. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure. I couldn't remember how much I told you about it, because there are perhaps other things that it does. But in any event, not too long after the incident with the Knights Panther, you managed to come out. You finally emerge from the Drakewald and see before you the great city of Delbers. And by great, it's maybe not necessarily super great, but it does at least have fortified stone walls, and it has the River Delb crossing through it, which eventually connects to the River Reich and then leads down, making its way towards the ocean. But you are still outside the city, so I am now going to summon your party token, which for some reason I was too stupid to put on this page. So let me grab that from a different page.
Summon the Middenheim Ball.
Yes.
Didn't we not make our way into the city? And we talked to that guard who was just like completely.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
No, that was the town beforehand. I think, pretty sure.
Where the Manticore hit the wall, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, that is right.
Yeah,
That is right. There was, y'all did briefly pass through a town on the way down. That is true.
Yeah, Schonenhagen.
That is correct. Good memory, gents.
I did make a scene in the dining room at the inn.
Yeah, they weren't super thrilled by y'all's visit. That's right.
He's gotta eat. He's gotta eat.
Because when y'all got in range of Delbers, one of the things that was a little obvious to you is that the city, rather strangely, seems completely unmolested. The walls, like, it seems very calm here. Like, there's, so anyway, I guess let's just hop into it. But before we begin, are there any questions? Or does anyone need any reminders about anything, or anyone have a question that's come up since the last session?
No.
Going once,
Good.
going twice. Okay,
I don't believe there's any for me either.
cool. Also, Garnath, do you have written down how long your cold is for?
Oh, we never. I don't believe we got to that for me because I only just contracted it because it's still within 36 hours until I get.
Okay, so you're still incubating. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still incubating for a while.
Okay, cool. So for those of you that are incubating, just make sure you're double checking, and then when it takes into effect, we'll do that. And remember, you do not suffer the effects while it's incubating. You only suffer the effects while it's active. All right, so the 5 of you arrive outside the city of Delbers. You emerge from the Drakewald, and you see before you a series of stone towers rising above, and the gates are wide open. People are kind of casually passing in and out through the gate. There's some guards standing around, but nothing too particularly crazy. Overall, it seems a pretty idyllic, peaceful day. Actually, random person, Sigmund, would you roll for me a D100 so we can see what today's weather is?
Of course.
Could use my new dice for you, damn.
85.
An 85. Now I gotta remember what book this is in. 1 second.
Hopefully it stopped raining since it rained on us basically the entire way down.
Yeah, fat chance.
Wasn't raining when we ate the when I ate the horses though. It was still clear skies.
Here we go. An 85 is let's see. Yeah, we are in spring, so ooh, what do I add in the north? For weather further north, add oh. Wow, it's a good thing y'all just arrived in town because it is not raining. It is a downpour. The once clear skies start to get very cloudy and a haze begins to come in, and all of a sudden you hear a small rumble of thunder, and then almost without warning, the skies open up and it starts to come down hard. Like torrential rain.
All right, Slims. Which one of you angered the more? Own up.
Wait, lad, I think it might have been you.
I'm one of his priests.
Doesn't involve you with all innocence. Remember your little episode back there?
He wanted me to do that.
I find it highly doubtful your maw has power over the winds of Azir.
Seeing as you're all very sick, I would recommend getting out of the extreme weather as quickly as possible.
Come on, then, since half of you are falling ill.
Unless you want to catch pneumonia.
If I fall
Find it
ill,
in, settled in for now.
yes, let's go.
All right, you make your way in, and with the downpour coming down as hard as it is, everyone that was kind of minding their own business immediately kind of starts running and shouting across this bridge to cross the River Delb. And with all the rain, the river luckily doesn't seem anywhere close to overwhelming its banks, but it is a very large, fast-flowing river. And the guards are, they quickly retreat inside the gate to the doors that lead into the towers, and they're not really bothering to check anyone. They kind of usher everyone through. As the 5 of you approach, however, one of them does raise a hand and says, "Oi, hold up there a moment," when you enter the little covered space out of the rain.
Yeah.
He will gesture and says, "You 5 come from the north.
Yes,
yes.
Slim.
Where from?"
Middenheim.
Ah, any news coming out? We've heard some rather concerning rumors.
Big beastie up above we're hunting.
Ah, so it's true then.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Not only that, on our way here, we found a group of Knights Panther who have apparently encountered the creature. They were all slaughtered, about a dozen.
Raret's picking his tooth from bits of horse meat still. Nah.
The man will pale considerably about this and say, "Oh, an entire squad of knights were killed by one creature?"
Aye, not only that, it seems to have landed on the walls of, I can't pronounce it.
Schoenhagen.
Stonenhagen.
No,
It
Schoning,
landed on the
like
walls of
Stoning.
show.
Stonenhagen.
There you go.
Yeah.
It appears to have landed on the walls of Schoenhagen and taken the guards with it.
He will blanch even further, and he looks out into the storms and says, "You don't think it could fly in this weather?"
I've
I
known
don't know.
Manticores to fly when it's been raining. That's in Gristle-Tooth Valley.
He'll nod and say, "Oh,
Be on your guard.
yeah, I will." And you know, you get the somewhat feeling that the guards will probably not be leaving their covered space anytime soon. But he waves the 5 of you through and say, you should go find somewhere warm to rest up. I don't think this is going to end anytime soon."
Aye, you stay safe.
Any recommendations?
He kind of he seems very distracted, mostly focusing his eyes on the impenetrable wall of water falling down for any telltale shadows that might appear. And then he kind of looks and says, "You could stay at the Righteous Moon. Not too many people have been in town lately. Most have been heading north for other reasons. But if you go down to the main square and take a right, it'll be right next to the Steinplatz Shrine. You can't miss it."
Main square and take a right. Good to know.
Thank you very much, Guard Slim. Come on, you lot. Let's get out of this rain.
All right, you make your way into town, and you cross the bridge with numerous other people running by you. Some people having wheelbarrows or lashing their whips at some oxen or horses, trying to get them to hurry across. Few carriages speed by, narrowly avoiding you. More because you have to dodge out of the way because they do not slow down for you, not even the ogre. But nonetheless, you eventually make your way to the main square. You do see some various shops and other buildings. There might be some inns among them. If you want, you could just keep following the guard's directions, or you can try and look around for something here if you'd like.
I'll just take a quick look. You want me to roll for anything?
Go ahead and roll perception, just because the rain is making it very difficult to see, like more than a few feet.
Average or challenging?
Do challenging. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
Just like you said, other inns.
Okay. So you do see a couple of what look like are more like taverns that might have some upstairs rooms, maybe. Seems a lot of the buildings around here are mostly residential. There is a cathedral. Looks like to Sigmar more than likely, but you think you might see something that looks like a tanner's or a blacksmithy or something like that, and some kind of general store, but there doesn't seem to be anything that is really necessarily designed for, nothing that seems to advertise itself as you should come stay here, more like you should come drink here or you should come buy things here.
Okay. No, lad, it doesn't look like there's anything else really in particular interest in the town square. I think we should continue on.
Follow
Yeah.
the Guard Slim's words.
Yeah.
All right, you make your way down the main road, and as you arrive in this other notable square, you are able to faintly see a very large building over where the one is, but due to it still has an outline even amongst the rain. However, you're not really able to easily make out like what it is. It looks like maybe some type of fortress or cathedral. It's not the largest building in the city, but you are able to see like large gargoyles and other types of ornamentation on it. But you do see, as you head into this square, an actual sign for the Righteous Moon Inn just ahead. Do you want to head straight there, or do you want to look around?
Let's head
What
on
did I
in.
say?
Right
I can't
there.
Let's
read it.
just go inside.
All right.
Yeah.
So you make your way across, and all 5 of you, Ogre, you definitely have to lend down, but you do manage to all barge in the front door of the Righteous Moon Inn and immediately exit out of the torrential downpouring rain into a nice, warm, well-illuminated space. And as you enter, you actually are, as you're approaching here, quite a bit of noise of people talking and such. But the second all 5 of you finally manage to slip out of the rain and enter, you see that the room is fairly well packed, likely with a lot of people who probably aren't even staying there, but more just trying to get, just wanting to get out of the rain. But everybody immediately ceases all of their conversation and turns and stares at the 5 of you. And there's like a good about 20 people in here. But there's a man at the bar who's just kind of tending some glasses. He's filling and constantly passing them around, as there seems to be quite a bit of people ordering drinks to stave off the wetness. There's a roaring fire in the fireplace, and there are a couple of individuals that stick out. You do notice, particularly Astaroth and Sigmund, and Thend as well. Your eyes are kind of immediately drawn to a inconspicuous. Wait, what is it? I think it's inconspicuous is your noticeable, but a noticeable man is in the back. And what gives him away immediately is his large, wide-brimmed hat and the sheer amount of leather and armor covering the outside of his body. You have no doubt, especially with the scars on his face, that there is a witch hunter of Sigmar idly hanging out in the back, and next to him is a bald man in ceremonial robes who are surrounded by various individuals, but everyone is just kind of watching you 5 for a moment.
Which one of you craps your pants? I think they can smell it.
I just start giggling. I'll approach the innkeeper or whoever's at
Whenever
the
it
counter.
says that, he'll look towards Dorthandril. Was it you again?
Orathandril bristles, gives Raret a glare, and then stops because this is a contest he cannot win. And just step away from Raret. I think they can smell your breath.
If it makes you feel better, Dorthandril, you do feel much cleaner because of the downpour.
Rarek does as well, but he feels sad. He likes the blood. Yeah. Oh.
At the mention of the elf, one of the men who is with the witch hunter and the bald gentleman in the back does stand up, and he kind of narrows his eyes and he goes, "Oi, that an elf?"
Yeah, one of it.
Maybe.
At your confirmation, you hear chairs scooting back, and a number of other individuals start to stand up and are facing you, and some of them almost kind of have there's a strange gleam to their eyes for a moment, and one of the men points and he goes, "You're not a wizard, are you?"
I have not the touch of the Aether.
What does that
No.
mean, pointy head?
No, I am not a wizard.
There's some grumbling at this, but the bald man sort of lifts his chin and his eyes focus on Thend, and he says, "Pardon me, Master Dwarf."
Yeah.
Do you vouch on your oath that this elf here is not a wizard.
Have I seen Dorothandrel cast anything?
You have not seen anything that you would describe as magic from Dorothandrel.
Seen him cast no magic?
And you've been with him for some time at least?
Weeks now. I fought by him.
He nods and he gestures, and you notice with just like a small wave of his hand, the tension in the room pretty much immediately dissipates. And everyone sits down and goes back to their drinks and talking. And the bald man turns his attention back to the very obvious witch hunter, and the two of them resume their quiet conversation.
Searching for someone.
That Rorek will just while that Rorek's going to lean into Sigurdsson going, "What's wrong with them and magic?"
Thind, at your question, the hairless man turns back to you and he says, "No, not searching for anyone in particular. I'm just protective of my flock here in Delbers. We do not welcome wizards here. Magic is dangerous, and any opportunity we have to snuff out those who utilize it is an opportunity that we shall take." And there's a lot of grumbling assents and people nodding at the wisdom in this man's words.
If you say so, I won't pry any further.
Rorek's just there, very confused, just squinting his eyes. But he just leans into the others, goes, "Why don't they like it?"
I'll just
They
kind of lean
scared of
into
it?
Revit and say, "Yeah, I don't know why particularly they don't like it, but they just don't like magic or anybody who uses it."
And I will say for
Yeah.
especially for you, Astaroth, a dislike of magic is by no means a strange thing. These people seem to think a little bit more about it than you probably would, but magic's a very scary thing. Like anytime that it gets brought up, anytime you've heard about magic, it always has to do with someone conjuring demons or raising the dead or turning rivers to blood or making it rain locusts or any number of unnatural things. Nothing good really comes from magic in most people's opinions.
I'll say to Revit, I'll just explain, like, a lot of bad comes from magic. A lot of magic's been used against the Empire. Not many citizens are too keen on it.
Well, that's clearly given to how us ogres feel about it.
Who was it that was approaching the bar?
Me.
Okay. As you do, the man behind it, who has a fine and bizarrely large and impressive waxed mustache, nods his head to you and says, "Welcome."
Hello, blessings from Tau. Just looking to see how much it would cost for a room for us 5 tonight.
He kind of jerks his head up towards the back where you could see a common room, and he says, "Well, you're looking to stay in the common room. Usually we'll run for about silver a head."
Right, what about some private rooms?
Private rooms? At this, he nods to the stairs, and he says, "We've got private rooms for about 6 a night."
6 or 9. Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna turn back to my friends, and I have 2 silver. So if it's a silver a head, I can cover 2 people. Does anybody else have something to contribute?
I only have brass.
Yeah, I've got 7 brass pennies.
I'll hand over 3 silver.
Dorothandrel will pause and say, "The party funds, or the travel funds, can get a common room for us all. I don't know about food, though."
I'll just go into the big room. It'll be big enough for me.
I think we only have enough for everybody to go into the common room, Big Ben. But if, as far as food is concerned, if needs
Oh,
be,
sorry, I misspoke. He actually said, I was looking at the wrong thing. He actually said 10 brass a night. I was looking at the wrong entry. I don't know how I did that.
For the
Yes,
common room.
the common room is 10 dosh a night, which is 10 brass.
Okay, so I retract my statement. I have enough to cover 3 people.
Well, how much do we have for the party fund?
8 shillings, 26 brass pennies.
Yeah, you could easily afford all 5 of you from that pool.
Should be enough
that-
then.
Yeah, that should be plenty.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll take 5 for the common room. Good, Ben.
All right, he nods and just notes to leave 50 brass or the equivalent thereof on the table at some point, and says, "Can I get you lads anything to eat? We got a hot soup that just finished. We saw the storm rolling in."
I've eaten on the way here, thank you, Slim.
I think I could go for a nice bowl of soup. Actually, it's been a while since I've had anything to eat.
Yeah, how much?
The meal to have your meals covered for the rest of the day, if you're going to be staying, which is presumably you are, full meals for the day tend to run 1 silver a person. But that does include something to wash it down with.
Okay. So I can pay for myself, somebody else, and food for myself. So I will do that. So I'm gonna put down 20 brass pennies and 1 silver shilling.
Okay.
If I could speak, I will cover Then.
Thank you.
Dorthen will put down another 30 pennies for room for the other 3.
Okay, so you put down 50 brass for rooms.
Put down a silver shilling. Does anybody else need food?
Going once.
Before discussing food, where are your
I do.
jacks, restrooms, place of repose?
He he gestures that says, well, if you he gives you brief directions to where there's kind of they have essentially what calling it a bathroom might be a little bit over, but it's not as bad as an outhouse, but he does give you brief directions.
All right, now here's the important bit. Is it closer to the common room or to private rooms upstairs?
Definitely the common room.
All right, I shall endure the common room.
I believe Hawk is having an internet connection issue, so I don't know if he wants to put money down for food. Asking him right now. Okay, he does.
Yeah. I think
Okay, great.
Oh, you back?
Okay,
Yep.
so who's got the silver for that?
I put down 1. I only had 1 for myself.
Okay, so and you put down 2.
I covered 20 brass pennies for the room for me and Then in the common room, and 1 silver shilling.
Gotcha. Okay, so Hurl's.
So Hawk has the silver.
Okay, so Hawk, you can either take a silver from the party fund, or if you got one, you can use that.
It's going to have to be from the party fund.
All right, subtract a silver from the party fund. But the 2 of you receive some 2 generous helpings of pretty actually good hot. It's kind of like a broth with like chicken and some various other like little things in there. But it's actually pretty nice. It comes with some not horribly stale bread as well, and some ale to wash it down with.
Dorthen will get food as well, and will look for a table closest to the exit towards the shithole.
Duly noted. Just make sure that silver is subtracted, and you get the same thing. All right. So a lot of you have finally made it somewhere relatively safe, even though the atmosphere seems a little charged against particular subjects. But overall, everyone continues just sort of chatting and minding their own business. Every once in a while, you do see some glances being shot your way from the crowd around the witch hunter and the man who seems to be some sort of religious figure based on his dress and the respect with which everyone treats him, not to mention his mention of having a flock. He doesn't appear to be a shepherd. But is there anything the 5 of you would like to do while you're here and the storm is raging outside?
You said the supposed priest is with the witch hunter in like a box booth in the corner?
Essentially, yeah. They're relatively close to the where the fire is. They seem to have kind of gotten the best seats. So if your goal is to focus purely on drying off and warming up as fast as possible, you might have to get a little closer to them. And they seem very aware of the 5 of you, most likely due to the fact that you kind of stick out rather heavily in this crowd. But other than that, they don't seem terribly interested in you.
I would like to gently just approach them for a chat.
Alright, big man. Where are you going?
Going to talk to the 2 weird Slims. Hattie Slim and Baldy Slim.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. They're not the most historically hospitable people.
I know next to nothing about your bloody lands. How else am I going to learn?
Northendrel
could just
points
watch
at
us.
Astaroth and Sigmund.
Aye.
They can tell you about this land. And
Aye, this is
perhaps
true.
about how the Hattie man, as you call him, likes to shoot people who can do magic with no questions asked.
Typically, big men, fellows like that one over there, they're not too keen on non-humans, especially as we've discussed magic users and whatnot. I don't believe he would take too kindly to you approaching him. What did you want to ask this man?
Why is he afraid of magic?
Oh, like I said, magic's been used against the Empire many times, in many different situations. People die all the time.
And that's more food for us.
Necromancers come out and resurrect dead from the ground, cast fireball cells and burn entire villages to the ground, put plagues on family and children. So,
Maybe because people are just stupid.
hi, you're not too far from the truth, big man. But I highly recommend not talking.
Okay.
I mean, I can't stop you. I
I know
don't
you
want to
can't.
try. Yeah. But would you like me to go with you?
No, because I feel like something bad might happen if I have others with me. Trying to reword what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
When the ogre's like, nah, I got this.
I'll turn to Thend and say, hey, are you sure you didn't want any food? I still got some left over if you're hungry.
Have a little bit. My appetite isn't too great. I'll have a bit.
I
Help
told you not
yourself.
to watch back in the field. I told you not to watch at all. But you watched.
It was a bad idea. And I'll sort of go over and get some food.
All right.
Whatever you do, Rarrett, I'll have you back. I'll be watching from over here.
All right, Rarrett, are you going to approach the clearly very friendly and sociable people?
When the party's not looking, I shall.
I don't think there's any circumstance where they will take their eyes off you into the public space. But
Boys, you need to
Me
trust the ogre
and Thend
more.
are just kind of sitting at the bar, munching on soup and just like side-eyeing.
Rarrett, as you make your way over, once it becomes clear that you are not heading for the door or the fire, but angling directly at them, the entire little squad around these 2 individuals immediately hushes up. And the witch hunter, the man in the large hat, looks up at you. And when you finally get close enough to see all the scars this man has on his face, you notice that this man has been through a lot. He has quite a few claw marks through one of his cheeks. There's a part of his lip missing, so you can constantly see like his upper canines and a few of his back molars through the little hole that's there. He has a very rough and aged appearance in a violent sense. If this man was an ogre, this would be definitely, you would think he'd be somewhere along the lines of a bruiser or tyrant, based on just the level of carnage this man has probably inflicted.
Rarrett would be a bit impressed seeing this guy. And he goes, oh, hello, Slims. I just want to chat. Ooh, I like your scars, Hat Slim. I like them. You'll be a tyrant where I'm from, or maybe a or a bodyguard to one.
His eyes kind of narrow, like he's searching for some sort of hidden meaning in your words, and he looks to the balding man, who simply sort of shakes his head a little bit, and he turns to look and he says, "What is your name, my good ogre?"
My name is Rarrett.
Rarrett. I am Father Viertek. How may I assist you?
I've been travelling in your slim lands for some time, and I want to understand stuff. Like, mainly, why don't you slims like magic?
At this mention, the tension rises a little bit, and the witch hunter reaches a hand inside of his jacket, but Viertek reaches out and just gently lays a hand on his shoulder to get the witch hunter to react, and he turns to you and he goes, "I know your kind are not the most quick of wit, but surely if you've been traveling these lands for some time, you must have at some point encountered the devastation caused by ruinous magic users, those who would attempt to distort and warp reality to fit their own twisted ends, instead of following the world laid out for us by the gods."
I didn't see any in Bretonia. And again, they were all moany and stinky and just, tasted awful. I think I met some, and it was a bit weirding eyeing me up like I was lunch.
You can't even be the same size as him. Just points like a random person in the group, in like this little group box.
Yes, well, the Bretonians are ever fond of embracing strange, heretical foreign powers. It is little wonder that their land is in such disarray and shambles. They do not embrace the light of Sigmar, a god who brings us men forward and allows us to rise up to be better than we would be otherwise, to emerge from our baser forms. They can't help that they're so ignorant.
Rarrett kind of leans in, somewhat intrigued. He does. He goes,
Wait, your name was a fart. You're a priest, are you?
He nods and says, "Yes, I am the humble priest of Sigmar that is in charge of the city of Delbers. I also am an attendant at the Steinplot Shrine. Have you come to see the shrine, Master Ogre?"
Originally, I was here with my slim, stunty, and pointy-eared hunting for the Manticore. I might give it a look, as where I'm from, I'm a priest.
He quirks an eyebrow at this. It says, "Oh, truly, a priest of what deity, may I ask?"
I am in training, but I'm a priest of the Great Moor.
He will frown. The witch hunter looks over at him, but Viertek kind of nods and says, "I see. I must confess I've never heard of this maw."
Great Moor. It's one strictly us ogres worship.
At this he nods, and the witch hunter and some other men who seem to be reaching for things underneath the tables visibly relax, and he says, "Ah, I see. I suppose that would make sense. Have you considered learning about the great and glorious Sigmar? I can imagine you've not heard of him much from being where you're from, but you can witness his holy miracles here, right in the city of Delbers."
I think I heard someone from Middenheim mention him. And I remember. Oh, my lad Gino. Oh, now I'm sad. I miss him. He mentioned about him. Called him no slim hammer man. That was his words, not mine. He preferred the one that was the wolf. He said Ulrich, I think his name was.
Father Virtek's smile fades into a very thin line, and he nods and says, "Yes, Ulrich, the northern god of uncivilized barbarians. Leave it."
While this is going on, I lean into Then to say, I am in complete awe that he's made it this far.
Aye.
The witch hunter does pipe up at this point, and he sort of looks at you and he says, "Tell me, Rerit, was it?
That's right, Slim.
What? Have you heard anything else about Sigmar from your time in Middenheim?"
Apart from what I got told by Gino, absolutely nothing.
And this Gino was...
A fellow ogre.
The Virtek will pause for a moment and he'll turn to you and says, "Rerit, why don't you and your companions come with me when the downpour ends, and I can show you the Steinplot Shrine. You can witness one of the great miracles of Sigmar for yourself."
If they'll agree to it, sure. If not, I'll come myself.
He nods and says, "Very good. This will please me immensely. Perhaps I can show you why Sigmar is the preeminent god in these lands, as he should be in all lands."
Hearing that, in the back of his mind, he's thinking something as he goes,
Sure. I would like to learn, because I am the smartest from my tribe, barring my tyrant.
He will nod politely, like he understands like he has any reference whatsoever for the sociological structure of ogre society.
yeah.
Very well then. When the storm ends, we will depart. I'll make sure to have some men sent for you.
Thank you very much. I best get back to the others before they get a bit concerned.
All right, you waddle your way back over to the party.
I have this look of just pure bewilderment on my face. That nothing happened.
Okay, Rough Slim. Did the elf piss in your mouth this time? Because you've got the look on your face that he had back at Spittlefell.
I'm just impressed, big man, that you managed to have what appeared to be a cordial conversation with a priest and a witch hunter. What did you discuss?
I wanted to understand your little pantheon you've got here.
You asked him about Sigmar?
Yeah, I did. And he's offered...
What did you learn?
Oh, that... He said preeminent god of your little Slimlands. That he should always be. I don't think he likes the wolf one.
And I giggle a little bit and say, yes. This rivalry between Sigmar and Oleg worshippers is timeless. And where there should be some camaraderie, there's often discourse. Sigmar was a worshipper of Ulrich himself when he was alive. However, since he became a god, many people have chosen to not acknowledge Ulrich in the same light as they used to.
That's strange.
His.
Yeah, he's offered to show us the miracles of your god. If you not want to come, that is.
I kind of gawk and say, "Millions of Sigmar? Like, what do you mean? Did he say what he's going to show you?"
The miracle and blessings of your god, I think.
Jonathan will stick his head in. Notice there is not a cacophony of violence occurring and rejoin the group to finish his meal.
Oi. Apparently we have a miracle showing after.
Invitation.
Priest of Sigma has offered to show Rarrett miracles, and I'm just in awe. I have never seen a miracle. Did he say where this is going to take place?
In the main building, from what I know. He'll send someone to collect us. He was to bring us there when the rain, stops.
Okay, so the temple. I did see what I thought was a temple of Sigmar on our way in during the downpour. Well, I would love to come, if I believe so. But I would love to come, if that's okay with you. It's been a long time since I've offered any praise to Sigmar.
It was offering for all of us. I think it helped that I told him I was a priest of my god.
Would this be that shrine the guard mentioned?
I
don't know. I don't know.
would assume so.
At this point,
Interesting to see.
I will note, most people kind of seem to be settling in for the storm. Unless y'all have intentions to go out and explore the city during it, it might be worth resting for a while since y'all have been adventuring so... y'all have kind of been gallivanting quite the distance.
Yeah. Robert's gonna go, let's head to the common room, lads, and put our feet up until the storm's gone. We need to rest.
I don't have to tell me twice. I'll head there.
All right.
It's made into a cape soon when we get the chance.
You make your way into the common room and are able to find beds, or in Rarett's case, get some various sheets or sheet equivalents onto the ground into enough of a shape of a bed that you can relax. And the trials of your journey finally start to weigh down heavily on you. And as the day ticks away into night and the storm continues to rumble on, you are all able to finally get a good night's sleep. Is anyone missing wounds that needs to heal?
Yep.
So for anyone that is in that circumstance, go ahead and roll me a, I think it's an average endurance check, or is it average or challenge? I think it's average.
That is still a nope.
Unfortunately. Anybody else?
I don't think so, no.
Nope, I'm full.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and pass it over to the next day. So roughly, so we'll go ahead and say that after y'all arrive in Delbers, you make your way through the town, you get to your inn and settle in, and everything. About 12 hours passes, and the morning arrives. Rarett, you said something about fancy dice. Would you like to roll for today's weather?
Sure, but damn, my dice are upstairs in my box. Okay, D100, correct?
Yes.
1D. F. 1D100. Boop. 12.
Oh, that's gonna be a beautiful day. Sure enough, it is fair weather.
Miracle is clear weather.
So, as you all slowly awake in the morning and wander your way back out into the main hall where there is breakfast being served. For those of you who have already paid, for anyone that has not paid, you will need to pay if you wish to eat. But for those of you, they kind of have like a little stew going for the morning, along with some various vegetables sort of thrown in, a lot of potatoes to supplement the meal. So there's a nice hot meal awaiting you all, and you can see actual blue sky and sunlight outside with just a few clouds lazily drifting by. And you notice that there is, when Rarett, Thend, or Dorthandra, whichever one of you comes out first, you see there is there's a man who seems to be waiting for the five of you. And there's nothing super noticeable about him. The only thing that really sticks out is that on his collar, you notice he has a little brown, a little copper pin in his the collar of his shirt is really the only thing super noticeable about him, just because it's a bit of an odd placement for such ornamentation as opposed to being on his shirt or a cufflink or something of the like. But he nods to each of you as you awake. It says, after you eat, I will be guiding you to the shrine.
Thank you.
Father Virtek is looking forward to your arrival.
Looking forward to seeing whatever miracles of Sigmar he's going to perform.
Not before. Well,
Because we are meeting with him.
Yeah, because of me, Slims, remember?
Ah, yes.
You lot stay down. I need to stay in the common room for one moment in case something bad happens again. I'm gonna go back into the common room, let them go for the food. But when they're going back into the main room to eat, while I'm in the common room, Fred's gonna try and eat one piece of meat from his bag.
Okay, there are other people in there, but if you don't care about what they think, then by all means.
I'll look and go. I'll go. Can you lot give me a bit of privacy in case something bad goes wrong with my tummy? I don't want to disturb you lot.
Sure.
Oh, look at the ogre. He's growing. Character development.
Yeah.
All right, roll a, what's it called?
A vice check.
Yeah, that.
A cool test. Whew. Okay.
Just pass it. It's not, it's so simple.
Just pass it, lol. It's not that hard. Challenging. No bonuses, not minus.
Ooh.
I'm gonna use my fortune to bump that up to a 40 so I pass.
So, weirdly enough, this is one of the very few times this comes into play. This game has a bit of a weird system where the tens place matters more than the units place. So while you would technically, yes, be reducing it to a 40, that would only take you to, because you're at a -1, because you failed by more than a degree, being that you failed by a 50, not a 40. That would only take you to a -0, not a +0.
Would it not? Because I would then be 40, I would be 1 over. Well, I'm sorry, the equivalent. Because normally it would be a -0 if I either hit it dead on or I was like 1 before.
No, it would take you to a -0 because the thing about the fortune points is they don't give you plus 10% to the check. They just bump you up a success level specifically. If they gave you plus 10, it would be different.
Oh yeah, that's right. Though it would be better if I did it, but then again, it's only a -1. It's not like a -3.
Yeah, you're gonna gorge yourself a little bit. You're not gonna go crazy though.
I'll leave it as it is then. I'll leave it as it is because it's only a -1.
Okay. Do you have any other sources of food on you?
I should do because I got bear meat and I got the meat that I bought from that butcher I did.
Okay, so instead of just consuming the one thing of meat, you are going to consume 3 pieces of meat. You can pick whichever 3 you want.
I will.
As you gorge yourself on breakfast, and you will eat until you feel properly satisfied and a little bit lethargic, so you will have a fatigue condition until you rest.
Yep. I'll do 2 of the bear meats and 1 hunk of meat that I got from that lovely, lovely man back from that one village.
All right. Is there anyone whose cold was not in effect that has now taken effect?
I remember mine, I think, was 30 hours.
Yeah, yours is still not up yet.
I'm still incubating, I am.
Yeah, yours will activate tomorrow. All right, so just remember that your characters are sneezing and coughing occasionally, and also that all of you except for Dorothandril have a fatigue condition. So any checks you take are going to be at -10. All right, so you've all eaten. Do you wish to follow? Who all is going to go with Rarit to the Steinplot Shrine?
I am.
Dorthend will go, and this is a warning, GM. This is the last day of my flux.
Cool. Is Thend going?
Yep.
All right.
Follow along.
And who's the human that hasn't talked yet?
Sigmund.
Sigmund.
I'm going, yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so you all make your way. It's actually a pretty short little trip. As you emerge from the Righteous Moon Inn, you see immediately the very large, opulent building across this square from you. And it's a beautiful, magnificent cathedral building. It's not the largest building in the city, but it is by far, in your estimation, the most opulent. And as you walk towards it, you immediately take in that there are quite a few people visiting. You can see some people that look more like nobles, various burgermeisters or more middle-class merchants. You see hunters and peasants. And the one thing that really draws your eyes is the closer you get, you see that kept off to the side by a group of guards is a group of about 30 people who are mostly either naked or wearing rags, and they are beating themselves relentlessly. Either they have little pieces of wood or small whips or little branches and vines that they're using to flagellate themselves relentlessly, bruising and bleeding themselves as they cry out insanely, either begging Sigmar to forgive them or to save the world, or proclaiming that doom is coming. And you can tell that the guards who are watching over them, which is just a group of like 3 halberdiers, seem extremely bored, as if they're very used to this particular crowd, who seem to be kind of a regular affair. But it is a bit of a shocking sight, especially just due to the amount of damage that they're dealing to themselves. But they seem very committed to whatever it is that they're putting themselves through.
Rarit's going to lean into Divs going,
Why are those slims beating themselves up? Do they want to get eaten?
No. They're asking Sigma for forgiveness. They're, very devoted to their cause.
More like just trying to make themselves look like dinner.
Don't get too carried away there, big man.
As you finally get in close enough to see the actual shrine, you do see Father Virtek standing out in front, and beside him, as always, is his mysterious witch hunter friend, along with various attendants standing around. And one of them sees you and whispers something to Virtek, who immediately turns around, and he approaches, opening his arms, and says, I'm so pleased to see that all of you decided to join me this morning. Welcome, Rarit and friends.
Hi, I'm Asteroth. Pleasure to meet you.
Dorothandril Dendyhart.
And
He sort of looks Sigmund's way expectantly.
Now that slim there, Sigmund, he's feeling a bit under the weather, I think, today.
No, just my connections being bad. Sigmund Faust von Sereg.
He nods to each of you. His eyes linger on Sigmund for a moment. His eyes almost like narrow as if he's trying to place you somehow. But he simply nods. And he says, "Please come and witness one of Sigmar's great miracles." And he gestures for you to follow him. And he walks a little bit ahead and passes through a small gate. And you arrive into the actual Steinplot shrine itself. And you see this. Before you is the main interior of the Steinplot shrine. And contained within a a glass case on display for all to see, surrounded by lit candles, is a hand that a severed hand that almost seems to glow radiantly in the morning light, and it seems somehow flawlessly preserved. It looks alive. Like, it doesn't, those of you that have seen, which is probably all of you, have seen dead bodies, have seen less of you have probably seen dismembered body parts. There's a paleness and like an almost waxy like texture that tends to be visible on human corpses or body parts. This hand does not seem to possess that quality. Instead, it looks legitimately fresh or somehow still alive, even though it's literally just a hand in a glass case.
Buy them more.
The setup.
Father Virtek smiles proudly and gestures and says, "Behold, the hand of Grand Theogenes Helmgart." Do any of you know the story of Grand Theogenes Helmgart?
Rorek shakes his head and he says,
Nope, never heard of that, Slim.
I'm just sitting there anxiously waiting for him to tell.
He waits for a moment, and his smile fades a little bit. You could tell that he was hoping one of you would at least have heard of him before he's...
I personally have not, but I have Lore Reichland. Can I?
Yes,
see?
roll a Lore Reichland. Roll an average Lore Reichland check.
Okay.
Sigmund will roll as well because he also has Laura Reichland.
Oh, nice, good roll.
Thank you.
No. I have
Okay,
not.
Sigmund, you never heard of him. Astaroth, you have heard this name and you recognize it instantly. Grand Theogenes Helmgart was a very famous Grand Theogenes from less than 100 years ago. With that success, I will tell you that what you know about him is that Grand Theogenes Helmgart was extremely famous, if not borderline infamous, for how much he hated sorcery. He hated wizards and was a very big even though you're from a small town, many people especially in like the more rural parts of the empire had a lot of respect for him because he went on many tirades against the dangers of magic and how the colleges of magic should be burned down and all the wizards taken out and executed. Despite the fact he was never able to pull that off, what made him particularly famous across the entirety of the empire, to the point that even you heard about it up in Hockland, was that he was responsible for the end of the very infamous Night of 1,000 Duels, 1,000 Arcane Duels, where a bunch of wizards went rogue for some reason in Altdorf and were attacking each other with magic, and the fighting was only ended when the Theogenes himself got involved and killed a number of wizards, the most famous of which that kind of passed down over the decades being that one of his witch hunters shot the High Luminary, who was the supreme patriarch of the patriarch of the Light College, through the head with a bullet.
Okay. So I'll speak up and say, "Oh yeah, I've heard of his legacy. He campaigned to end the colleges of magic in Altdorf, and he was the one who ended the Night of 1,000 Duels."
At this, the Father Virtek looks extremely pleased, and he says, "Yes. Where did you say you were from? Astaroth, was it?"
I hail from the province of Talbeclan. I am primarily a worshipper of Tal, but I also worship Sigmar, as you could not deny Sigmar's excellence. And without Tal, thered be no Sigmar, and without Sigmar, there'd be no Ulrich. So
he nods somewhat. You can tell he doesn't necessarily agree with everything you just said. But he does still seem overall pleased. He says, "Well, at least you know your history. But yes, this is the hand of none other than the Grand Theogenes himself. He who saved Altdorf, nay, the entire empire, from the rabid sorcerers that even now scheme and plan and plot in Altdorf. If only the Emperor would see sense and exile those monsters, or better yet, execute them. And to think Middenheim's been allowing sorcerers within its own guild for even longer. The damn fools, no wonder they worship a mere animal.
Hearing this, Rory's eyes go a little bit wide, glares to everyone for a quick minute, and then just tries to look casual, like, uh-oh.
Andrew meets your shifty eyes.
He gestures to the hand and says, as you may be able to tell, the true miracle here is that while Grand Theogenes Helmgart is no longer with us, his hand remains here. This majesty of Sigmar's power. The hand is still alive. In fact, the nails on his hand still grow to this very day. As you could, and he gestures to a man, a halberdier that is standing right next to the glass case, and says, "It is this is Peter Zuvrist, who the man, hearing his name, seems to immediately snap to attention and salutes, and nods to the rest of you. He says, it is his responsibility not only, of course, to guard the case, but every day he clips the nails growing from the hand and delivers them over to the cathedral on the other side of the city, where they are kept safe, as they are indeed holy relics of Sigmar himself, seeing as he uses his great power to maintain this shrine, so that the worthy and those who seek to better themselves may offer prayers here for Sigmar's benevolence."
Oh, so not only is it still alive, but its nails grow faster than when he was alive?
He shrugs a little at this and says, perhaps Grand Theogenes Helmgar was quite virulent with how quickly his nails grew. Who can say for certain?
Was he left-handed?
He will say, I do not believe so.
Ah, so it is not the hand that slew the wizards then.
While Grand Theogenes Helmgart was quite noted and passionate against sorcery, the most famous kill that was dealt that terrible night was by an unnamed witch hunter. The Church of Sigmar found that it would be better that those who actually landed the killing blows remain anonymous for their safety. It was, after all, Sigmar's wrath that allowed the bullets to find their marks.
Dorthander will just nod and gaze at this hand. How's the winds of magic around here?
Roll me a average perception check.
Perception. And a +1 SL for detect magic.
Okay. You notice, rather bizarrely, that this shrine does indeed seem to have a significant impact on the winds of magic. As the winds are gusting across the city of Delbers, the shrine itself almost seems to be, it almost has like an invisible cover. There is something about this shrine that is genuinely repelling the winds of magic away.
So, part of me is completely taken aback and in awe of what I'm seeing, but there's another part of me just based off of life experiences and whatnot, that is questionable, or questioning. Could I roll for perception just to see if I think what I'm seeing is legitimate or not? Or like if I have any reason not to trust what this man is saying.
I mean, that's up to you, unless there's something like, do you want to if you want to roll to see if you can like detect any kind of trick about it, that would be fine. Otherwise it's, it's just up to how you think your character would interpret it.
Okay.
If he thinks it's a bunch of crazy bullshit, then that's totally his prerogative. He would not be the only person that feels that way.
Would it be an intuition or a perception check?
If your goal is to try and detect if you feel like Father Virtek is some kind of con man and he's lying, you would do intuition. If you're wanting to look at the shrine itself and try and detect if there's something else going on here, that would be perception.
Could I do both, or is just?
You could do whichever you want. It's up to you.
Okay, I'll do both.
All right.
Average, challenging?
Intuition will be challenging.
Okay. Okay.
You have no reason to doubt that. Well, you have no reason to question however you feel about it. You feel either, depending on how his pitch came on to you, either you feel this man is 100% full of crap and is definitely making great money off the side of all the people making offerings at the shrine to Sigmar, or you think that this is one of the holiest sites you've ever seen.
And the perception check?
It will be also challenging.
Also check.
You don't see anything that, like, obviously the shrine has been very carefully designed to make this the Steinplot shrine has been very heavily designed to make this situation seem as holy and reverent as possible. However, there is no denying the fact that the hand does indeed look like it is still alive, as if it still somehow has fresh blood flowing through it, and you don't see anything that would allow that to be the case naturally.
On the back.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I will just get down on my knees and start praying to Sigmar.
Okay. Father Virtek nods at your piousness and says, "Of course, any are free to offer prayers, and of course, we do have buckets for those wishing to make donations to upholding the shrine," he says with a little too much emphasis, but then turns and looks at a number of additional people that are arriving, including no small amount of nobles, and says, "Now, if you may excuse me, I must tend to others that are arriving at the shrine so that they may understand what it is they're bearing witness to. I wish you all a good day."
You too. Rora is looking in sheer confusion at this hand.
All right. He walks away, and the witch hunter stays behind for a bit, and his eyes kind of he ignores most of you, but his eyes linger between Rarit and Dorathandril for a long time before he slowly turns on his heels and follows after Father Virtek.
Or Thunder will give him a polite nod.
He does not return it.
Astaroth praying and decide this may take a while, so he will take out his comb and start brushing his hair again.
Astaroth, roll me a D100 as you are offering prayer at the Steinplot shrine.
She has the prayer skill.
I would be I can't believe it.
He's answered you. No way.
So, wow. All right. So Astaroth, as you pray, okay. As you pray and you offer up your thanks and wishes and whatever it is you're saying between you and Sigmar. Actually, what do you pray for? What do you say as you pray to Sigmar?
I will ask Sigmar to lend me his strength to fight this Manticore and to continue down my path of being a good warrior, and to always keep myself in line with his teachings, and apologize that I also worship Tal, which I personally don't think that he would have issues with, because he worshipped other gods in his own life, but that I venerate him just as equally as I do Tal, and to give me protect my friend as well.
Okay, roll me a D100 as Sigmar himself answers your prayers. Oh, wow. Okay. So, I need you to add a condition onto your character sheet. As
Could I use a fate point to re-roll that?
no, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
So you're going to have the following spell. You're going to add as you pray, you feel like a light gust of wind and a slight warmth over you, almost as if you kind of take a deep breath and you feel good. Like you still feel kind of sick, but the sickness itself is fairly minor. But there's like almost like a strange lightness to you. And Dorathandrel, you literally see something like there's like a weird subtle shifting in the winds, and you don't see anything that you genuinely believe you saw because it's so weird and brief, but you almost swear you see a strange shimmer or haze around Astaroth, but it's gone after a moment. Astaroth, you need to add to your character sheet the Blessing of Nullification. The Blessing of Nullification. And the only thing you need to write is the next time someone casts a spell on you, remind the DM you have that. And I will explain what occurs.
Done.
All right. But yeah, nope. Sigmar, there was a 2% chance that happened.
That's amazing.
All right.
Astaroth opens his eyes and there's a one-up mushroom of Mario on the ground. Gave Warhammer Mario a mushroom.
Dorathandrel, as you witness this strange moment in the winds, you have a strange feeling yourself that it's time.
All right, this is right outside.
You are very close to the end, yes.
Ah, I forgot something back at the end. Dorathandrel dashes back.
All right. Dorathandrel flees the scene, moving at his full elf speed, which is shockingly fast.
Dorathandrel sprints away.
Yeah, the elf vanishes as if he is the wind itself.
Right, Ted's gonna go. Oh, elf, I need a chat. The fuck did he go?
All right, so there are now four of you left at the shrine.
I will conclude my prayers and stand up. Wait, where'd Dorathandrel go?
I think nature called.
Ah, fair enough. All right. Well, that was eye-opening. I've never seen anything like this before.
It's
This
weird.
goes-
It's weird.
As Rarit says that, you hear a voice from the shrine go, "Not weird, it's holy." And you realize that Peter Zuverst, who is the guard there, is the one addressing you, leaning lazily against his halberd.
Oh, don't mind him, sir. He's not from these lands and is actually, in his own accord, taking interest in learning about Sigmar. He might come off as a little rough around the edges, but he is, in his own way, showing Sigmar respect. And coming from an ogre, that's something to be venerated. So
Ah.
please don't mind him.
An ogre pilgrim. You know, I assist quite a few pilgrims, being the high sentinel of the Holy Hand himself.
I can imagine.
He waits expectantly after he says that title for like some sort of reaction, but when nothing happens, he deflates a little bit before turning to Reverend and says, "Is there anything I could do to assist you with your pilgrimage, dear ogre?"
I'm not a pilgrim, I'm just learning.
Well, what do pilgrims do if not travel to learn the will and ways of Sigmar?
I've already got my own
He tuts at this and says, "Ah, but does your god have such a magnificent display, like the Holy Hand?"
My god normally eats every piece of flesh in sight.
He he shakes his head and says, "Ah, to be so misguided and barbaric. Truly a tragedy."
Not really. The other one signals when it's time for war. But it's weird from my culture seeing a living hand without a slim attached to it, still alive and not buried or, in my culture, eaten.
Well, I imagine it's strange for anyone to encounter a genuine miracle.
I've seen a few from my god. I'm not ready to wield them myself yet.
He sort of seems to not be super paying attention and is focused more on Sigmund and Astaroth and Thend, and he says, "Did you know that I'm the one that cuts the Grand Theogenes nails every day?"
So we heard.
Yeah,
I did not, but now I do.
That's how trusted I am. That's how high I am in Sigmar's esteem. That I am the one who not only trims the nails and cares for the hand, but delivers them personally to the Temple of Delbers, just down the street there, of course.
right.
Holiest task indeed to carry the holy jar of fingernail clippings.
Yes, only for the most dutiful of servants.
I bet. Rorik kind of leans down to Thend and go, "It's just a fucking hand that's glowing."
Still impressive.
It's
But-
just fucking glowing, though. If that was in my camp, we would have eaten that 10 ways from sundown.
He does gesture to a small donation box near him and says, "I don't suppose you've come to make offerings for the upholding of the shrine, seeing as you are within it and walking on it and dragging in whatever it is you brought in with you in it."
I look down and realize I've still got fresh kind of blood from my meat.
Oops.
Funny enough, they don't seem terribly bothered, it seems, by someone bleeding within range of the shrine, almost as if there is a large group of people that tend to do that around here somewhere. Who could be heard screaming in the distance.
Are they going to be at that all day?
Oh, those lot?
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, just fanatics. Insane folk. Don't worry about it.
It's weird. Why are they beating themselves up? If they're asking for forgiveness, why not just ask
Well,
or pray?
those pilgrims aren't so much asking for forgiveness as seeking enlightenment through suffering and pain. Like I said, they're completely insane. Sigmar does admire those who suffer in his name, but there's something about self-inflicting it that I think is a little off. But don't tell the father I said that.
Oh, I agree. I don't think Sigma will take too kindly to those type of practices. But everyone interprets their own, their religion their own way.
What do you take then? Like coins?
Preferably? He gives you a strange look as if he's not really sure where you're going with this.
Dothandra ran off, right? So he's not
gone to the shitter.
I'll lean into Then and say, "Oh yeah, I think Dothandra had most of the money, and I don't have any more money. Throw in a couple brass pennies, we can be on our way. I'll pay you back later."
You best, or I might do something that'll make you regret meeting me.
You are so lucky that you already failed a vice check today.
Yep.
I'll lean back to Astaroth. It seems plenty well maintained already. I'm sure they don't need more.
Hey,
I agree,
Thend.
but I can imagine that we might get a little upset word might get back to some other people that we didn't give a donation, even if it's just something small, just to get us out the door.
I'll nod and I'll go up and is there like a bucket?
Essentially, yes.
I'll toss a silver in.
Oh, a silver.
Oh, okay.
He'll nod and say, always leave it to the dwarfs to honor the old ways with Sigmar, the old pacts. We appreciate your donation, Master Dwarf.
And I'll turn and to the group. All right, I think it's about time we head out.
I agree. Let's be on our way. Thank you for letting us know of your esteemed title and who you are, and I hope you have good fortune from here on out.
Yes,
The blessings of Sigmar be upon you.
may Sigmar bless you as well, and go forth knowing that you've met the High Sentinel of the Holy Hand. May that bring you comfort in in your coming days.
Yeah. Right, just there saying with like a bit of a blank face, like he doesn't know how to take this. He'll drop 2 brass into the bucket, but they are very bloody chunks of 2 brass.
He definitely just sort of nods to you. He doesn't seem terribly perplexed by the condition of the money, but he does seem at least pleased that you put actual money in there and not something else.
Oh, I was waiting for the vampire skull. Like, this is a magic vampire I killed.
That's Rorit's personal trophy.
All right, so do you all make your way out of the shrine?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Leading to everyone goes, I've got an urge off from that hand. You don't gonna like it if you keep me away from it.
Let's keep walking.
As you're
Sigma.
outside, you do see there's quite a few people milling about. Since it's such a beautiful day out, like the whole city, everyone's come out and is walking around. There are a lot of people visiting the shrine, from all sorts of different classes and stuff. So people kind of pushing past you to go inside or pushing out to head out. Dorothandrel, have you returned by this point?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dorothandrel arrives, looking a little drained, but otherwise no worse for wear. And as the 5 of you are standing out there, and what would you like to do?
Wait, Sigmund, you seemed you were very quiet in there. How do you feel about that setup?
I don't deny the fact that it is not a blessing from Sigmar, but I feel they might have conflated the importance of the relic.
Relic, it's a fucking hand.
It was.
He was doing much
potent.
either.
You're gonna have to. If we were to stay in this town, you gotta make sure I don't go near that church again.
Meanwhile, Astaroth
Two.
has like a legitimate holy experience.
Why, well,
You seem
if we don't-
happier though, having gone there, Astaroth.
Yeah.
it was, like I said, I've never seen anything like that before, at least from, my worship of Sigmar. Growing up in Talabecland and traveling around with my father, I've seen shrines of Tal and been to the Grand Temple, but I've never experienced a miracle from the side of Sigmar. And it's refreshing. It's refreshing to have your confirmation of your faith restored. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Dorthandrel leans down and peers closely at your skin.
Oh, do I got a bug on me?
I think you're
You feel
drunk.
refreshed.
I do. I feel very happy, very content. As I said, it's nice to be reminded that my faith is placed in something that is true.
Rorit will lean over to Dorothandrel.
Did you say he drunk back at Spittlefell?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
Oh,
if he-
the wine. No, the wine wouldn't do that. It doesn't last that long.
On him it might have. It's just a fucking hand in there and it's glowing.
It's doing more than glowing. It is definitely real in a sense, or the shrine is.
You're gonna have to tell me what it's doing then, you are. And also, I need a quick word with you.
Oh, it's just repelling magic.
Raret's eyes, you see it bulge slightly. Ow!
Oh, and how much so?
So are y'all having this discussion in the middle of a giant crowd that, granted, no one's really paying attention to you, but...
I feel like we're walking and
Or are
talking.
you walking and talking? Okay.
Walking
think
and
we're
talking.
Where are y'all heading to?
Can we find out more information about the Manticore? It doesn't seem to have come this far south.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to try some gossip checks?
Sure. I'm gonna have like a -20. I am because of A, what I am, and B, fatigue.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is that possible, or am I absolutely screwed?
Could roll a 1.
Okay, I have a chance, but it's only a 7% chance.
Well, one of you has already made a 2, so...
To me.
And we'll assist Orthandrel.
Okay.
So it's difficult because of my smell.
Yeah, fuck no.
Does anyone else want to assist Orthandrel? That is trained in gossip.
I will assist as well.
Okay.
I really get gossip.
So you're going to be at... okay. Well, no. Not enough.
Not enough.
You ask around about the Manticore. Raret, nobody really wants to talk to you. Whenever you approach people, they just sort of very hurriedly seem to find something else to do or rush off or ward you off, or vaguely wave a broom or some other object in your direction to keep you at arm's length. Nobody really wants to talk to you, it seems, unfortunately. You're a sad, lonely ogre today. Northandrel, you had some incidents with it back in Middenheim. You've dealt with some people who definitely judged you immediately and not well based on the fact that you are an elf. But Delbers seems to be almost possessed by a whole nother level of speciesism, and people actively spit in your direction or just ignore you very rudely. They're not even giving you the time to explain what you're wanting to ask them about, or even give you even the sliced amount of politeness. These people are jerks and treat you very poorly. They at least have the good sense to not spit directly on you, but you figure this might have to do more with the fact that you're very obviously with a dwarf and an ogre, and it makes you worry a little bit of what these people would be like if you were alone.
Ah, the curse to be envied so.
I don't want to be you. You're stinking constantly shit.
Regardless,
Andrel will look to you and say, but I am not constantly hungry.
we have all we have our problems. We have our problems.
That's not a problem. That's
Any
a compliment. I'll take it.
Sure, but it does feel like we've gone a bit too far. This Manticore doesn't seem to be interested in this town.
Maybe we should go back to Middenheim.
I think they'd be going too far back.
Why? Are you afraid of those little slim boys? I'll eat every single one of them.
Oh, I know you would, big man. I don't think it would go back that soon. Am I wrong?
Could
It
have
might be
ended
still in the area, but I don't think it would go back that far.
We did find a bear nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, is there somewhere where I can get a coat made out of this thing, like a little capey thing I can wear?
I'm sure there's
Might have
somewhere
to
in
pay
town.
someone for that.
Good, because I did pull bits of its fur off, because I wanted it for myself. The skull's mine, both that one and the vampire. I think I need 8 more heads. And I'm going to make myself the greatest skull collar you've ever seen.
Do y'all want to head further into town, or do you want to be making your way out of town?
I don't have anything I need to do here, and The Manticore was nearby, so I think
Hmm.
it's imperative that we continue on.
Yeah.
Unless anybody else has anything.
Well, I kind of want to find a. Would it be a tanner to help me get a fur cape made? Or...
That would be a reasonable person to go to, yeah.
Yeah, I would look for a tanner. I would.
If you want to inquire about that with your party, one of the members of your party knows where one is in Delbers.
Do any of you lot know where a what's the people that make the bloody capes and that and scrape all the excessive flesh off?
You would need to go to a tanner, big man, and I believe I saw tanners and blacksmiths in the center of town before we took the right to go to the inn.
Can we go there quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you make your way into the proper center of Delbers, next to the temple of the Sigmarite Temple of Delbers, which is that large building there. And there are a number of shops and other things all around the temple district. And sure enough, you do see what looks to be a tannery. You also see a blacksmithy. You see a couple of general goods stores. It seems that a lot of the shops are lined along this road that goes from the north gate to the south gate to try and catch people's attention that are passing through town.
Excuse me.
Right. Oh, we need to go in. I need to get this made.
Do we want to ask for any meat scraps? Are we trying to bait this Manticore? Are we looking for a fight now? Or do we want to set up something more elaborate? Because if it is hunting in the area, we could ask for some scraps.
Could always try and lure it in with a trap.
Yeah. We'll just use it. We'll just use you.
I would just point towards Astaroth.
I don't think you want to use me as a trap, big man. At least not just me. I don't think I'm much of a meal. Not only that, I'd be one of the ones to take down the Manticore. Get a good shot on it with an arrow before you can even get your big hands on it.
Oh, I know ways to hit it without touching it.
Interesting. Well, I would
An
at least
arrow.
like to get a good look at it. Maybe we can set up something without needing to fight too.
You got to fight, stunty.
All right, so
Size it up at least.
so Rare, are you stepping into the tanners?
Yes, I will be stepping into the tanners.
All right, you
If I can get
approach
through the door.
you approach the small building and do manage to, by very much stooping over and hunching your shoulders, you are able to squeeze into the building and its low roof. But every moment in here is profoundly uncomfortable. But you do see a woman who is working away on a number of hides that she has. And she immediately turns to look at you, and she looks a little alarmed when you first stoop into the building. But then relaxes a moment. She says, can I help you?
Yes. Can you make like a bat cape?
Out of what exactly?
Bear fur. Let me pull some out.
And I pull some of the bear fur out.
She sort of she sort of looks at it and the gory mess that you present to her. She says,
Yeah.
I suppose I could do something with this. It would take some time, though. I would need to clean all of this in order to sew it into something, and I'd have to get your measurements, and I don't know how much material that would require. You are awfully large.
That's true. That's true. Estimation wise, how much?
Oh, she kind of she looks at you and narrows her eyes for a moment. She kind of thinks for a moment. She says, probably about 15 silver.
Damn it. I don't have that much. I need to get some money.
Well, best of luck with that.
If I forget some, I'll come back.
Oh, all right. Be safe out there.
I thank you, Slim. Ow, ow, ow. This is uncomfortable. Ow, 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 ow.
All right, you pop your way back outside. All right, 5 of you are standing in the middle of the town. What are you gonna do?
That's everything. I
Oh,
think we should try and figure out a game plan.
Because I need more money.
Well, if we slay the Manticore, big man, we'll get enough gold and you can make 100 capes.
I only want one. Also, I'm getting its jaw.
Jaw? Why its jaw?
Slaps his belly. I want a gut plate. His jaw's going to be big enough for one.
I think, big man, we need to bring back its head, at least its head, intact for any type of reward.
Sure, you can get its jaw after the fact, though.
I guess it depends on whoever
Anyone-
placed the bounty.
Anyone who takes that jaw from me, he's lightly pats his cleave and he's going, I will swing.
We'll hit
Then
that road when we get there.
Oh, here's the problem. Bunch of knights just got murdered by this thing. I don't know if we need to get a little bit more of an advantage than they did.
You've got an
yeah.
advantage. You've got me.
Rarich's confidence is inspiring.
Somehow, being encased in the finest steel armor does have its draw. when
What type of
comparing
advantage do you
advantages.
think we would need then?
At least some sort of ambush.
To do that, set a trap.
Assume the knights weren't exactly going for that, but maybe somewhere where this thing can't fly around.
A
Perhaps
forest.
a cave.
A cave's where they stay at.
But
Right.
it does
How
seem
far away do they fly?
more dangerous than I thought.
What?
Do we have a way to pin it down?
It's got a stranger colour than normal. Always attacking very bravely. Don't know why, but part of me's got a feeling it might attack the city tonight.
We could look to purchase some nets, but I don't know if we have the reserves for
Iron
that.
net. Iron net and not just gut it and spill its blood everywhere.
We don't want it flying away when it realizes we have the leg up.
But when it's bleed, then rip his wings off.
Easier said than done, but I like your gusto.
Where it's just like, just kill it, Five Head.
Honestly.
If you've seen the thing yourself and you are this confident, then it should be as easy as just luring it out. Why don't we just get some meat then?
Yeah, it should just be as easy as a vampire in the basement.
Robert just looks at you, goes, I think the bloodsucker we got lucky on. He's as confident as I am. I know one thing. You's lot are smaller. Some of you might break looking at it.
Alright, what was this particular color?
I think it was like a fiery red it was. It was stranger than normal.
It had a fiery red mane, and then most of its fur was like black with a lot of streaks of like white and gray.
The rest of it had black and white and grey streaks.
Not like stripes, but like it used to have all black fur, but it's probably old enough that its fur has started to gray and white in various places. That's what I meant to say.
Sorry, my apologies.
No, you're all good. I was clarifying because I didn't know if I had made that clear.
So, not something, say, hard to spot flying in the sky.
Well, it's bigger than any other Manticore I've seen a few in Gristle-Tooth Valley. At least 3, at least.
Can
Now on
everyone roll for me a -20 perception check.
That's an impossible perception test for me then.
Cool.
Because I'm already -20.
Cool. Then don't even bother. Dorathandril, for you, it will be -10.
But then also another -10 because we're all fatigued.
Yep.
Is that -10 in target bonus?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Huh.
Alright.
Fourth, it involves sight.
Ooh, +1 if it involves sight. Okay. Dorathandril, you cannot help but notice as a lot of you are chatting, due to your what do your elf eyes see? You notice that there are 3 men, kind of a little ways over here, and you, as you're talking, you notice that they are staring very intently at the group of you. And the big thing you notice about them is that each of them is wearing one of those weird little brass pins in their collars. When you notice them staring, and when one of them seems to realize that you are staring, he quickly elbows one of his other companions, and the 3 of them walk down an alley.
I've seen a brass pin that looks, and he'll describe what they looked like.
The brass pin, it kind of looks like a. The best way to describe it is it looks like a. It looks like a little. It looks like the mold for some sort of device. Maybe like a. It's kind of like vaguely in the shape of a bullet, or like a split bullet, or like a bullet that's hit something. But it's like a little brass badge or brass pin that they keep in their collars.
Hmm.
Because there were 3 gentlemen down that alley taking a particular interest in us.
I swear to the more of it's his boys, we're killing him on sight.
Whose boys?
Bugger who threatened us outside of Middenheim.
The man.
Do I have an ask? Doesn't seem like they're itching for a fight.
They won't if I'm here.
I'll sort
Orlando
of head
puts-
towards the alleyway.
Yeah, 2 and 2 together and realizes, oh, if this is like the man, then there are helpful, friendly people, like the last time, and he will walk towards that alley.
Okay.
Gonna be like, no, you don't.
Uh,
Go down there, we're fighting.
well, I mean, if y'all want, you can make your way over the alley. It's not a big deal. Dorathandril makes his way over the alley, but when you turn to look down it, there's no one there. They seem to have quickly vacated the premises.
I left for a second. What did I miss?
The elf noticed that y'all were being watched by 3 strange men who have those copper badges in their collars. But
Okay,
they
they're
noticed
gone.
the elf noticing them, and they left.
It appears they are not friends.
Oh, say,
Like,
Astaroth.
that's a fair assessment. Huh?
If you do catch a glimpse of this Manticore, how good would you be at tracking something that flies like that?
Hard to say when it's flying, because you can track its footsteps for as long as it decides to be on the ground, but as soon as it flies, it can go anywhere.
That's why I said bleed it, because it'll constantly bleed.
If it's bleeding, perhaps, but the odds of blood droplets dropping so close to each other to potentially follow a trail is even slim. It's not impossible. It would have to be a significant amount of bleeding. Maybe every couple 100 feet or so, you might be able to find a speckle of blood. But there's a lot of trees overhang, and the blood could drip down onto trees before they hits the ground. It's very difficult.
Or licks his lips. raining drinks.
I think Rarrett's pretty confident he can get it to that point. But we're trying to. I think the best plan here is to at least get started with this thing. I don't want to stay in this town too long. Doesn't seem especially
Great.
friendly.
The
So,
longer I'm
how
here,
about-
the more likely I'm going to eat that glowy hand.
Which way will you go?
Don't want that.
You could go south towards Altdorf. You could go north towards Middenheim. You could even go east.
Well, if it made its way down here, we haven't seen any signs yet. Because the last signs we saw were between here and the last village, the Knight's Panther and the bear, correct?
Yeah.
So we could do one or two things. We could go east and see if it flew east after killing the Knight's Panther and the bear. Excuse me, and the bear. Because it very well, like, it could have just caught its prey, did what it did, and like, all right, I'm gonna go somewhere else, and just decided to go east. Or we could continue south and see if it just happened to fly over this city and skip it over. What do you guys think the best course of
Or-
action would be?
I vote for south. I don't think the Manticore flew over the city based on the guard at the wall. He didn't seem to see it.
I say north. It want a mountain to stop in or stop near.
Okay, that's one for south, one for north.
Does Delbers seem far more defensible than Schoninghagen?
Oh yeah, significantly. Schoninghagen is a village that is lucky enough to have a wooden palisade. This is a legit city. It's not a giant city, but it's a city. It's got reasonable defenses. They've got stone walls, a very defensible river. They've been around for a good long time, and they've got resources.
If it was flying away from the mountains to begin with, and this does not look like the most tempting target, I would assume, for a beast, it might have just gone around.
That's
South
what I
may be
say.
the best place to test.
No, it's gone back north. You'll have
Alright.
a cave somewhere in the mountains.
That's
Can
2
we
votes
see
for
if
south.
Hmm.
If we go south, find a town burned, then we know it kept going south. If it find no sign of it, then we can head back. Otherwise, if we head north from here and it went south, we'll feel fools when we find out, all the way back at Middenheim, that it's somewhere in Altdorf.
Those are all excellent points. Big Man has a good one. It might have a cave somewhere in the mountains, and if it's got its full for the day, it might have retreated back north. But at the same time, Dothandril's logic is sound. I think we should do what Dothandril said. Go south, see what we can find. If nothing, come back north.
Okay, that is at least a majority opinion for south.
Yeah.
Okay, do y'all want to do anything else before you leave the city?
I'm all set for now.
Going once.
15 minutes by the river, enjoying what passes for civilization in this land before I walk out in the godforsaken forest again.
enjoy being by the docks, being like, if we could just afford a boat. All right. So after a brief period, you make your way out the gates. However, very quickly after you leave the city of Delbers, like you literally walk out, and within 2 minutes of you walking onto the road, passing by various carriages and caravans and other people setting off on their own journeys to Altdorf, a man peels away from the wall and walks up to you, and it's very noticeable because he is huge. This man is easily 6'5", and he's completely, you assume, stacked with musculature just due to his width and height. But all of, pretty much his entire body, except for his face, is hidden underneath a full set of what looks to be heavy plate armor that gleams silvery because it's so well maintained despite ancient scratch marks and various divots from a lifetime of battles. And the thing that really gives him away is that he has an immense two-handed hammer hanging from his back, along with crossing against it a massive, which you assume to be needing to be wielded with two-handed, great axe. And he is covered in various iconography that denotes him as an Ulrican in faith, but the real giveaway is the massive black wolf pelt that he has draped over his shoulders, with the head of the creature being mounted on one of his pauldrons. And just looking at the fur on this thing, not only was this wolf had to have been immense, because its pelt hangs down all the way to barely, almost touching the ground, but the head of it, the skull of it, easily covers his entire shoulder. And what's left of the beast, you can tell from its the pelt made from its body that it was a scarred, nightmarishly huge creature. Calling it a wolf might be a little bit of a understatement, or a massive a bit of an understatement, I should say. But he wears no helmet, and he has a large black beard that hangs down to his chest, though there are streaks of gray going through it. And he has a wild head of hair that hangs down behind him. And as he approaches, he says, "Pardon me, are you five looking for the Manticore by chance?"
Rory instantly spins and he goes, "Yes, we are." "By the Moor, that's a great pelt you've got."
He gives you kind of a wry smile and nods and says, "Aye, it came from a great beast. Quite the..." He looks at it and pauses for a moment. He frowns and almost seems to be taken back somewhere, and he says, "It was quite the hunt. Quite a dire beast, if I do say so myself. It killed many good folk before I brought it down with my bare hands. But that's a tale for another time."
How can we help you?
"My name is Galardin Blackfur, and I would ask a favor of the five of you in exchange for a favor that I will do for you. I understand that you're hunting that beast that's been on its way down from Middenheim, and I happen to have an idea I know where it's going. And I'd be happy to tell you where it is, and maybe even give you some advice on how to catch up to it. But..." And he sort of looks around, and you're getting stared at by a lot of people just because you're such a notable group. And he kind of nods off, gestures off to the side to this kind of field here and says, "Do you mind if we speak over here? I'd like to speak without quite the audience."
Sure, why not?
Dorothandrel, once again, follows a strange, suspicious man, completely believing this is going to end well.
Well, he doesn't lead you into the forest this time. So he walks away, and he finally lets out a sigh and says, "Ah, that's better. You'll have to forgive me. I'm so used to traveling on the road, I'm not terribly used to crowds anymore. The staring can be bothersome."
Ooh.
Definitely
Our
can.
Slim friend here, super slim elf here, said we were stared at earlier.
He doesn't have the brooch.
But what's your favor?
He nods and says, "Seeing as you just came out of the city, did you visit the Steinplot Shrine by chance?"
Yeah.
Did.
I was confused.
He nods and says, "Ah, you're not the only one. You see, I was sent here on a private mission, one that I could use with the help of adventurers like yourself with. You see, our Ulrich, the head of my order, the Knights of the White Wolves, the head of the entire Ulrican faith, has heard mention of this shrine. A strange, macabre display that has a seemingly still living piece of flesh in it from a prior Sigmarite, which, frankly, sounds heretical at the very least."
We looked at it and it just seemed wrong.
"I agree. Our Ulrich thinks that something else may be going on here. They claim that it's the hand of a Grand Theogonist and that it's a miracle of Sigmar that it's still alive, but he suspects that something else may be going on here. And ever since the shrine was completed, due to a large donation from the von Sutrum family, who have much to benefit from Sigmar's influence growing in the Middenland, the R. Ulrich thinks that there may be more going on with that hand than appears. So I was sent here to, well, I think you've heard, I imagine, about the whole aspect of its nails continuing to grow and them having to be clipped off, yes?
Yeah,
Yes.
a guy
Talking about
does that and hands him over to a little place.
Right. Well, despite Delberz's affection for that hand, to my understanding, the security is rather lax when it comes to those fingernail clippings. What I could use is someone bold and clever enough to get me a day's worth of those clippings without being noticed. That way I could take them back to Middenheim where they can be studied properly to make sure that there's not some untoward thing happening here. Make sure the Sigmarites aren't up to some depraved nonsense in order to expand their influence north.
Well,
Before you answer, and he holds up a gauntleted hand and says, I will say that... Hold on. Sadie. No. 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 Bad. Bad. No. Sorry, discovered Sadie was doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing.
That's fine.
You go chew your antler. Go. Sorry about that. All right.
To Sadie or Rarrett?
That was Sadie.
yes.
Sorry, I was fussing at her because she was she was chewing on a wire. All right. So anyway, the knight, he holds up a gauntleted hand and says, "Before you answer, I'll make it worth your while, I assure you. Not only will I tell you about the Manticore, anything you'd like to know, as I've been tracking the beast for some time on my way south, but I will also give you each," and he reaches out and pulls out a patch and says, 2 gold crowns in exchange for this task. I understand that it could be quite dangerous.
Rurik's gonna look at everyone going and says, I know I want to do it really bad, because right now, I am gonna side with Gino, what he said. The wolf god seems better than Hammer Boy.
Ulrich was Sigmar's god, so
Aye, this is true. He was Sigmar god, but now Sigmar is the god. Sigmar is the god of many. I cannot condone the action. I understand.
Hammerman's not mine.
Yes, this is true, but I don't think you'd be able to be sneaky enough, Rarrett, to get in there and take a fingernail or two.
No. I heard of once of an ogre being that was quite sneaky. I wonder what he's up to.
What's stopping you from just getting the nails yourself from this gentleman as he walks down the street at night?
Garrison raises an eyebrow and he says, I'm not sure if you're aware of the current schism between the Ulrich and faith and the Sigmarites, but things are tense right now. And a city like Delbers is very devoted to Sigmar, crawling with the faithful.
Yeah.
I'm not so worried about being attacked. I'm more worried that I'll never have a moment's peace to do what I would need to do in order to acquire them. There's someone like myself stands out very heavily.
Orthandril's going to look at himself, Rarrett, and then Thend, and question how competent this person is.
Garrison will raise an eyebrow and say, some of you do stick out, it's true, but I think that may be your true strength, is that some of you can draw a lot of attention very easily, while others among you are far less likely to be noticed and could perform the deed then.
If you do discover something strange about these nails, what is it exactly that you plan to do next?
That would be for all Ulrich to decide. But if it turned out that this hand was indeed some heretical sorcery, or something that is designed to trick the good people of the Empire, then I imagine that he would urge Toddbringer to take action.
Okay, I've got one quick question for you, Blackfur. Just a random. Ask the weird priest man in there. What does your god feel about magic? Is he afraid of it?
He laughs heartily at this and says, Ulrich fears nothing, my good friend. He is the god of winter and battle. He exults in any hunt and fears no such force. Magic was welcomed in Middenheim far before it was welcomed in any other part of the Empire. Why, the Guild of Wizardry's been there for hundreds of years.
So you're not like the others and you're not too bothered about.
So long as it's used for good causes?
Alright, that settles it. If I was a Slim, I'd be one of you Slims.
Let's say you do get these clippings and you take them back to Middenheim and they are examined, and they end up finding that there's absolutely nothing wrong with them, that they are just in fact fingernail clippings imbued with Sigmar's holy magic. What's stopping the Church of Mullard from just saying they're heretical anyways? You and I both know that the Ulrichans and the Sigmarites have each their own ends to gain. One just simply has to say, these are heretical, these are not from Sigmar. Even if they are, and problems will arise. There's no easy way I could see this happening, and no honest way, I should say.
At this, he kind of quirks an eyebrow and says, "You're a bold man to so outwardly accuse the our Ulrich of potentially being a liar and a schemer before one of the Knights of the White Wolf. If I were a typical member of my brethren, I probably would have tried to have your head for that. But lucky for you, I'm old and aged, and my fire burns much colder than those others who give in to their more berserker fury. I can't say anything necessarily to prove that that would not be the case, but I can assure you that Ulrich only wants what's best for the Empire."
Right now, I'll trust you and your priest over the one that don't like magic and worships a weird bloody hand.
And he nods and says, "And I do want to make it clear, I am not hoping for this hand to be some foul force. Much as I might not care terribly much for the Sigmarites, and I think that they should appreciate Ulrich far more properly, seeing him as the god who's been with us since long before Sigmar, a god that Sigmar himself worshipped. Nonetheless, Delbers is a good city, often full with good people. We just want to make sure they're not in any undue danger."
Makes sense to me.
Yes, and this is true. Sigmar worshipped Ulrich in his lifetime, but Sigmar did become a god, and Sigmar did save humanity countless times. So to say
But who's to
that
say you're
without
Slim?
Sigmar there'd be no Ulrich,
But
and
who's to
I kind of
say-
stopped myself, and I'm just like, okay.
I look at him going, "You're acting weird again, Rough Slim." But who's not to say, if it weren't for Ulrich, I think that's what you said his name was, right?
That's right, Ogre.
Is it like Ulrich? If it weren't for him, you wouldn't have your Slim Hammer God.
But if Sigmar didn't become a god and do all the amazing things that he did from become in his human lifetime and as a god, the world would have ended 100 times over, and there would be no more.
No, it wouldn't have.
At this, Gurdon laughs openly and says, "I think you've got things the other way around, my friend. Without Ulrich, Sigmar would have never lived as long as he did. Why, if it wasn't for Ulrich, Sigmar surely would have fell at the siege of Middenheim.
But there's no doubting that. Oh no, I would never refute that. But we're getting semantic here. I apologize, but
He did
I
play today.
will say this: if one of my friends or any number of my friends wants to partake in this, I cannot stop them. At the end of the day, it is just taking some potentially holy clippings. It's not like we're stealing the whole hand itself or desecrating the shrine. However, I
Give
will
me a
not be
night.
participating.
I'll bust it and nick it and eat it.
He chuckles and holds up a hand and says, "Let's just worry about the clippings for now."
Well, fair enough.
I
You should have
can
killed
tell
him.
you that from what I have been able to see, I see nothing of the ruinous powers in the hand.
He does nod to you and says, "Are you experienced with the ruinous powers? Have you traveled into the distant north, fought against the forces of chaos?"
No, but the properties of the hand appear to be antithetical to their goals and desires.
Chaos.
While
Why those few ogres that came back looked a bit weird and spiky?
Gurdon will sort of give a look to him before sort of shaking his head and turning back to Dorothandrel and saying, "While I appreciate your input, Master Elf, you'll hopefully understand that the Cult of Ulrich wishes to confirm such matters for ourselves."
What do you all think?
I say let's do it.
Personally, seems a bit like bad business to me.
He will look down at you, Thend, and say, "The Cult of Ulrich would owe you a favor, something that I imagine could come in handy."
Right, hold on. You said you're from
Softly.
Middenheim, Black Fur, right?
Indeed.
Then you could get your job back.
Not
could
how
also
I would like to
Clear
get
our
it back.
name.
We would get Ben's job back anyways when we go back and clear his name and find the bastard who framed us.
I don't care if he framed us. I will hand him over to the load.
Gurdon does nod and say, "If you're in legal trouble, that would be something the cult would very easily be able to clear up."
Someone that does need investigating in Middenheim, if you could help with that, and look into some foul business,
So long as you,
then perhaps we can look into some things for you.
I think that could be arranged, so long as you come back successful.
Aye.
Digman, what do you think about this?
Yeah, what about you? What about you, Tin Slim?
Protective of the city. Seems our friend the White Wolf, or White Wolf, is duped, and his help would be most appreciated when we return to Middenheim.
So is that a
how genuine this what's this? What was his name? This black fur guy.
yeah, Gurdon Blackfur.
Okay,
Oh.
Gurdon.
That's the path.
Here, I'll type it in chat.
Yeah, can I do a check to see how, like, intuition to see?
Yeah, roll a challenging intuition check.
Mm-hmm. -10. Oh yeah. All right.
Well, so challenging isn't -10; it's just basic.
Oh, I'm also sick.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're sick. Okay, so do you want to fortune point that or keep it? Keep in mind your fortune points refresh every session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's telling the truth. That, and I'm slowly become a fan of Ulrich, I have.
Ooh, okay.
Can I roll as well? or no?
Yeah, anyone can roll.
I am for attempting this.
Oh, was it challenging or difficult?
It's challenging, but if you're fatigued because you have a cold, it will be -10. As you're all coughing and sneezing constantly, and very likely spreading the cold as you venture through the city.
I ain't rolling because Rere likes this idea.
Well, if that's the path you all want to take, then so be it. I will say, however, I will not be helping directly take part in the taking of the nails. I will.
Theism. Thanks
Huh?
for that. Sorry. Okay, was anyone else gonna roll intuition real quick?
No, Northendril has his opinion on this.
Okay. Sigmund, did you want to roll or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Astaroth, did you want to re-roll or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. So Thend, with the highest roll being only a marginal failure, you do feel pretty confident that everything he says is true and that he's being honest with you. The only thing that's a little weird for you is that, like, it's strange seeing a white wolf being essentially a black wolf, not a white wolf. But that doesn't really mean anything. And it's not something that has never been seen before. It's just different. So it kind of puts you a little bit off, because all the ones you ever dealt with in the city, they were very, very big on having white wolf pelts. But that's also because they were very, very into the whole aspect of the white wolf being the most holy, and therefore it should, like, be the main focus, and it's a lot of political stuff.
I think what's the vote amongst the party?
I say do it.
All right, that's one for do it.
I'll accept it as a job as long as we can trust you.
Northendril looks at the group. Skulking, conniving, and theft are beneath me. I am surprised that you all don't feel the same. And he's going to look at Thend.
Rude.
Working for, if this is work for Middenheim, then it is work. If you join as a soldier, it is your job to take lives.
Oh, Then knows how to argue semantics. All right, so that's 2 votes for, 1 against. So it's up to the humans.
I'm siding with Desandril on this one. I mean, if we end up doing it, I will help. Like I said, with matters outside of the direct action of taking the fingernails.
Okay, so that's 2 for, 2 against. Sigmund, how do you feel?
I am for doing this.
All right, so that being said, the 2 of you who are against don't necessarily have to help if you don't want to. But it seems that the majority of your party is going to go forward with this Mission Impossible task. Gurdon nods his thanks and says, "Excellent. I'll wait here outside the city gates. That way I don't draw too much attention by coming in with you. When you acquire them, just bring them here to me. I'll have you paid, and we'll talk about the Manticore at that point."
That's a fair deal. Fair deal.
I don't mind waiting a few days, but obviously every day that passes, the Manticore will be getting further away, so I would encourage you to hurry.
Of course. I've got one question.
Which would be what? Master... And he sort of...
Rarity.
Master Raret.
Yes. Your lovely big beast fur. You said you killed it with your bare hands, right?
I did, such as the strictures of our cult.
Ooh.
When a worshipper of Ulrich wishes to join the Knights of the White Wolves, one of the tasks they must complete is to go out into the Drakewald, or the forest surrounding Middenheim, and to kill a wolf using no weapon.
Oh.
Ah, so
Now, the
drop
ones I
release your
saw
sword
in
behind.
Middenheim were white.
True. Many of the wolves that many of my cult do particularly seek out the white wolves. They are quite terrifying beasts, and their pelts are quite pleasing to Ulrich, as the white wolf is his personal symbol. However, this beast, and he gestures to his cloak, was quite the troublesome one. There had been rumors coming in about people being attacked on the roads and farmsteads being found empty, their inhabitants slaughtered, children, livestock. Eventually, when I decided to take on the oath of becoming one of the White Wolves, I was not charged, you could say, but I felt like Ulrich himself was calling upon me to hunt down this beast and slay it, to put an end to the misery it inflicted on others. And so I did, with my bare hands. And I embrace that, even if it does make me stand out a little much among my peers.
I absolutely respect you, Slim, for doing that. I mean, on our way here, I slew a bear that the Manticore had fought and escaped. I used nothing but my trusty cleaver to slay it.
He kind of looks at the cleaver, and you could see both of his eyebrows shoot up, and clearly he's thinking something about how calling that a cleaver is probably a very generous term for the word. But he proceeds to nod and say, I could see how that would be capable of slaying such a beast, yes.
I might have my... If I could get my... I only wanted to ask because I like the style that how you wear it. I might do that for myself for the bear I killed.
Oh, that would be troublesome unless you have the entire bear.
I've got his skull. I've got most of its fur and some hunks of its bones and meat.
You might try skinning it in the future. Makes it easier to make a pelt out of to have the entire skin.
That's why I will happily do this job for you, because I do need the money so I can do it.
He nods and says, well, best of luck then. You should get to it. It won't be... he kind of looks up at the sky and says, you have a few more hours until dusk will start coming on, which is usually, I believe, when the guard makes his delivery. Unless you were planning to steal from the shrine directly, but I don't know if I would encourage that.
Nah, best not. We don't want to draw too much attention, and if we were to cause attention... well, I'm going to look to everyone else. I know how to make a scene.
All right, boys. I have to cut it off just like 10 minutes early.
That is a perfect place to stop,
That's a-
as we can just turn on the Mission Impossible music, and that'll be for next session.
Yes.
Because I will have to I have to do a few things for potential things that I think y'all are going to try and do. Though I will say, I would encourage, if anyone thinks up a plan before next session about how your character would want to approach this, please send that to me in text, just so I kind of have a vague idea what y'all might try to attempt. I will prepare for many possibilities, but that would make my life like 1,000 times easier.
And no one you got to prepare for. Possibility of Rurik going to eat that hand.
That I have had prepared from the moment the hand was introduced.
Oh, there's something that can be eaten?
It involves just know it involves a very, 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 very angry group of Sigmarites. and possible branding by the entire cult.
Well, it was a blast, boys. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, great job, guys. Everyone gets 100 experience.
Yeah.
And we will resume probably next week.
Yep, that sounds like a good idea to me, it does.